attack. Recently, I've put 2 posts where he vehemently says he's going to bomb the United States Embassy in Uganda, in Kampala, because he suspects that Bobi Wine is being kept and held in that place. So leave that to him to try to cause some trouble, because he knows what will come if he attempts to attack the embassy. But Museveni believes the gun solves everything, but let's see how that goes. So that military equipment, or the equipments that have been brought to look for Bobi Wine, have been stored in Mbuya barracks, in the military barracks. Any of you who are familiar, it's around Kiswa Bugolobi area. That's where the barracks is located. So all of that equipment that is supposed to be searching for Bobi Wine or His Excellency Kyagulanyi are stored in that place. The other thing is that because of what's going on with M23 in Congo, and Rwanda and Kagame denying that M23 is from Rwanda, now Kagame says it's from Uganda, Museveni feels like things are closing in on him. And so one of the things that he's trying to do, or he wants to do in the next few days or weeks, is to get rid of Jamir Mukulu. As you know, that Jamir Mukulu had been branded a rebel, and he's in the prisons of, he's in Luzira in Uganda. So people who are involved in this plan are Frank Baine, Byabashaija, and Museveni. They plan to kill Jamir Mukulu in prison, because they believe that if he's caught and he has to talk, he will have a lot to say that will incriminate Museveni and his regime. Museveni and Kagame right now are in the same boat. Everything that links Kagame, for example, the treaty that they made with Congo between Tshisekedi and Kagame in front of the President Trump of the United States, that has fallen through because Kagame lied, and Kagame he thought he fooled the United States. And so it has been tracked down to the fact that M23 is indeed sponsored by Kagame. But recently, or Rwanda, due to investigations here and there, they've also figured out that Kagame is also linked to Museveni. So then Kagame went and spoke and said, you know what, I misspoke. M23 is actually a rebel group from Uganda. So in efforts to, take off the blame, Kagame is incriminating Museveni and has already incriminated Museveni. And so Museveni lives knowing that even if they attack Kagame, he knows that it's coming for him. He knows that somehow he has been implicated, and so it is just a matter of time before all of this gets on him. So they want to get rid of Jamir Mukulu. He was arrested in 2024 as a rebel group, remember, as part of, I believe, Congo or something like that. But he has been in custody in the prisons in Uganda for a while. So Jamir Mukulu, anybody who knows him, he's on target. He's supposed to be, according to orders from Museveni, arrangements with Byabashaija and Frank Baine, they want to get rid of Jamir Mukulu while in prison in Luzira because they're afraid of him speaking. The other thing, this is funny, but it's true. So, you know how Museveni has been buying off a lot of political prisoners here and there? No, not political prisoners. Opposition, like Noop and all those people, to try to get them to work with him. Recently, we found out that in as much as he calls them and tries to buy them to get them on his side, you know how they promise them a lot of money, millions of dollars, of shillings, billions of shillings here and there. Museveni has figured out how to keep them on a leash, to continue doing what he has asked them to do, but he's not relinquishing that money to them. So apparently what he's doing with the opposition is when he calls them to, like the Nsibambis, when he calls them to go and meet with him and he promises them a lot of money, what Museveni then does is, after the meeting and the agreements and the signed MOUs and all these things, agreeing to work with him or work for him, Museveni then asks them how much they want and where they want to take it. And because this money is bulky, sometimes they can't just take it in cash to wherever they want to take it, because sometimes Museveni has access to a lot of cash. So even if they do give him cash to take home, they're asked to be escorted by guards. So Museveni will give them some guards to take them home. And as they go, or when they go to the banks to go and keep that money, Museveni will send them with an escort who knows how much or which bank they're going to. So when they, let's say, well, what was this recent gentleman? So let's say somebody goes to Museveni to go get some cash, and they've agreed, they've signed MOUs. He sends them with a guard with the money that he has given them to go and deposit in a bank. So every bank is code numbered or code named by the Museveni people. So they'll send him with the security to try to get that money to the bank. When they get to the bank, this code is communicated back to Museveni to say, this person has brought the money and has deposited it in this bank. So what he does is he communicates with those bank officials not to release those funds to them until he says so. So imagine you take cash to a bank, but you don't have access to actual liquid cash. Museveni has become a mafia among these people. They go in, they take their money, they take it to the bank, bank it in their accounts where they usually go and exchange cash or money however they wish. This money becomes held up in that place, and their salaries go in there. So for example, the MPs who work with Museveni, who already have established banking services with a certain institution, when they go to withdraw that money, they can't withdraw anything. All the bankers will say, go back and talk to whoever has sent you, or your account is frozen. So despite the fact that Museveni has already met with them, they've signed, and they're working for Museveni, they don't have access to those funds, plus their salaries are also increasingly frozen. So all of these MPs, NUP or opposition MPs who work for Museveni, they are working on empty, because all the money is frozen and only Museveni can release those funds. So imagine, after all that they're doing, and they can't say no, and because they hope to get that money, they can't stop working for him. They can't say no. The other day, Walusimbi was ordered by Museveni to show up and change to NRM immediately. Without saying any arguments, he went and did it anyway, because he has them on a leash now. They expect to get this money. The money is held up, and Museveni is going to hold this likely past swearing in, which means these people have to show up to swear in. By all means, they are going to come and stand beside Museveni, hoping to get the money, or by MOU, and they know what Museveni is capable of. So when you see our brothers and sisters in the opposition who have started working for Museveni, they're not having it easy. Their funds are frozen, personal funds, plus what Museveni promised them. So, good luck to you people for being traitors, because we're in the same boat, basically. Except you have allegiance to somebody who will not make you sleep. Okay? Next, ammunitions. Museveni is worried that something is going to attack him. He has been very concerned that as much as they're emphasizing Rwanda, he knows that he is next, or he's being lured by all these attempts on Kagame, but they really want him. So, like they say, when you beat a dog, you're looking for the owner. You're waiting for who is going to come and say, hey, I'm the owner of this dog. So basically, whatever they're doing to Kagame, Museveni knows that they're looking for him, because he has all ties to everything Kagame is doing. Museveni is no different, and the world knows it already. So what Museveni has been doing, he has decided to move all ammunitions from Amras in Uganda, all the Amras where ammunition was stored, especially in the Nakasongola area. He has decided to move everything from those locations because he doesn't trust the UPDF anymore. He doesn't trust the army, even his SFCs, because he believes that anything could happen now. Anyone can be used. Anyone can try to distance themselves from him. Anyone can cause him trouble. So he has built a lot of houses or bought some around Kampala and within the cities. He has decided to empty all of the AMRAs and bring all of the ammunitions into those different homes. And he has taken SFC soldiers away from barracks and has plotted them in the neighborhood so that they can secure or watch over those ammunition. So in the last, I think a day or so, this has come a little bit late on my part. So a few days ago, some people witnessed load shedding or power shut off along the Nakasongola highway coming from the barracks over there, because Museveni shut down power from 8 p.m. because he was moving weapons from the armories to the buildings where he wants to secure them. So many of you those who have lived in those areas, you can tell that there's been power shutoffs consistently from 8 p.m. until morning, purposely because he wants to, in the darkness, move those ammunition and weapons to new locations because he doesn't trust anyone. They've brought in a lot of military, obviously from Rwanda, because they know what's coming at them. And so they feel like they need to protect themselves with people who trust them or people who care about them. So a lot of those ammunitions have been moved into new homes. If you see new builds in your area or buildings, it is because they are trying to shift or move over their security or ammunitions because they believe once they're attacked, they need to have defense from people who care about them. So you will notice a lot of new people in the neighborhoods. They look different, they walk different. Those are SFCs who have been deployed to be around and protect and watch over those ammunitions, because he's afraid that if the military turn on him, they'll use it on him. Okay. Next here, only top commanders actually know about those weapons, the ones that are being moved around, because he's preparing to spread a whole lot of the battalions away from the military barracks into local communities where he can control. Okay. Buganda region. This is a new one. So the Rwandese community has designated Buganda region as their gain. As you might know, you might have heard that in the place in Rwanda where the memorial or the memorial location where the genocide victims are inscribed on rocks and things like that, the tourist area where the people who go to visit people who suffered or lost their lives during the genocide in Rwanda, has an inscription where the Kagame people have linked the loss of lives during the genocide to Buganda in Uganda. Strangely so. You know very well that it's impossible that Ugandans went and attacked Rwandese during the Tutsi and Hutu war in Rwanda, which eventually brought Kagame into power. That 1994-1993 genocide, that was executed amongst themselves. But apparently in the inscription on the rock that is the foundation rock of the memoriam in that location, there is an inscription that says, these people, or in memory of those who lost their lives, and this war that was caused by the Baganda from Uganda. It is very strange. It is not true. But I understand that these Rwandese people, especially the ones that are causing a lot of instability in Rwanda, the Kagame people, are teaching their children or sharing with people of Rwandan descent, of those enemy descent, that the people that killed or caused the genocide in Rwanda were Ugandans and they were Baganda. That is not true. So in essence, they've poisoned some people's minds. And that's why you see when these Rwandese people are attacking or hitting or beating Ugandans, they do it mercilessly, because they have that bad seed that was sown in them, saying that Ugandans or Baganda are the ones who killed them during the genocide. So be watchful of that. And so in essence, what they've now what they're resorting to do now, okay, is that they are trying to take back Buganda, to take away Buganda, to make it part of Rwanda's gain. How are they doing that? Museveni has mobilized a lot of money from abroad to buy Buganda land. Therefore, any Muganda who is going to be able to sell land, and whatever price you ask, they are going to buy it off your hands. The reason why they're buying this land is so that they can take over Buganda region. So my advice, or the advice given to the Buganda community or people living in Buganda, I know that Buganda is richly and generously for everyone. All Ugandans are welcome in Buganda. I grew up in Buganda and I know what that means. You have welcomed everyone from every region. Anybody who has property in that region, please do not sell. Because the reason you're going to be selling is you are selling your soul and everyone who is in your lineage to these Rwandese people. They are coming to take over, not to just buy and settle like good neighbors, like other people have done. So be mindful, be watchful. Anybody who asks for any amount is going to be given that amount, because the Rwandese want to take over that land. And anyone who refuses will be eliminated. Okay? So they have devoted, and they are devout to apply this to try to take over Buganda by all means. Okay? So stand firm and don't sell your land, because they're going to pay whatever price you ask, but don't sell your land. Change is coming, and we will settle freely and happily in our land. Okay? Next is Muhoozi is bringing a new law in Kampala, in Uganda, where he says that people living in Kampala or businesses existing within Kampala, in the capital, in the city area, they're going to require that you build only flats or storied buildings, like 2, 3, 4 storied buildings only. And if you can't afford that, you should get out of the city. Okay? So this is another way they're going to manipulate people who can't afford, or people who are established. You know, you don't have to build according to what they want. You should build according to what you can afford. But they're going to try to get people out of the city if you can't build more than 2 floors. If not, they'll offer you money and pay you off to leave the land or property. And if you are not able to relinquish, they will try to eliminate you. This is also going to be linked to any buildings that are in or around the city limits, within roadsides or cities where a lot of businesses operate. They're going to require you to pay a special tax, and that is to their benefit. So basically, they're trying to impoverish people who are existing in business activity, doing well, excelling, or struggling somewhat, but have something to do in the city, because they want to take Buganda, especially the capital, metropolitan Kampala area, to become a Rwandese gain. Like they said, the project is called Buganda is our gain. Buganda is our gain. So be watchful of that. Museveni invited all TikTokers and YouTubers. Yesterday you saw him, he met with them. Okay? He has given them money to build studios, and is also going to give them a license to operate. These YouTubers and TikTokers are going to be given instructions on what they'll be speaking about, or areas of concentration, such as his swearing in ceremony, which he wants to make really big. The speakership race, that's also something that these YouTubers, you saw the Kasukus at State House and a few others. Unfortunately, our youth still some of our youth still don't know who they are or what they are. You know, it is sad to watch that a foreigner who is not Ugandan is giving us a piece of Uganda, and the Kasukus don't realize that they can gain all these things on their own. So I listened to one of the young men who was in the audience and spoke to Museveni, who said that he had a degree in, is it mechanical engineering or something like that, but he has now become a YouTuber, and he has to be bought by pennies here and there just to make him feel valid. You know, I wish we knew who we are so we could fight for what we have or what belongs to us rightfully. So Museveni is going to be using these people a lot to try to get, obviously, media attention away from His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. That's his biggest idea. His biggest challenge has been diverting the media to talk about something else, or social media to talk about something else other than His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. But all in vain, because in as much as these people can go and meet with Museveni and talk to him about whatever he wants of interest at that time, I think Ugandans are awake enough that they can't defy what their heart is telling them or wanting. Okay, so I have faith that even if they go and, you know, he's convincing them to do this, that, or the other, most of us, most Ugandans, most youth, oh, Katongole, yes, I think he said biomedical engineering. That was a really sad truth that I heard from this one of the gentlemen who went to visit Museveni with the Kasukus. You know, it is absurd, but sometimes we learn the hard way. So, you know, we'll see how far that goes. But in efforts, we're going to continue fighting to try to get our Uganda back from these people. Okay. So these TikTokers went and they were promised 5 billion shillings. Museveni promised to give them, but as I mentioned earlier, when Museveni gives these people this money, even if he promises, those funds do not get disbursed unless Museveni says so. Many of them are working for free. There are people who I know who were promised by Museveni to get a lot of money, and it's been years that they haven't gotten it. So no matter what they do, this is, you know, these are just promises, and it doesn't mean that it's going to change their lives. These people are also going to be given different projects. Like I said, they're going to be covering the speakership race, the swearing in of Museveni, and they're going to be demeaning NUP and all of its party activities. You know, as you know, Museveni's biggest job right now is to try to make Bobi Wine look less valuable before us, which is impossible, almost impossible to do, but he's trying. Good luck to him. Next, Museveni, Muhoozi, Damulira approached people who own bonds for vehicles around Uganda, Kampala area especially. Jinja also has some bonds. Those people were approached by the Museveni and the NRMs because he needed those vehicles to be used during the election period. Many of the bond owners agreed to give them the vehicles. However, they were supposed to pay those people and also eventually, after the campaigns ended, return those vehicles. Museveni now can't afford anything in Uganda. He can't afford to live because his government is very broke. So they haven't paid these people a dime. And they have also refused to return those vehicles. When they got those vehicles, if you remember some of the vehicles that were trailing His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu on the campaign trail, most of those vehicles had no number plates. And not because they didn't have any, it was because there were new vehicles that were still in the bond, not yet released to be used or sold as they should have. So they took those vehicles and used them and have refused to pay the fees that were due, that should have been paid. Plus, they've also refused to return the vehicles. So what he's now going to do, because the vehicles are still being used for patrol in the local communities, somebody shared a news piece where Minister Echweru, I think his name is Echweru, he talked about vehicles having to leave the city areas and move up to other districts and all of that. They're trying now to clear the streets of those vehicles, and so those owners of those vehicles are not going to get them back. Okay, there are no solutions. They've tried to talk to Salim Saleh and everybody else to try to get that money back, but none of that is coming back to them. They also promised to give them tax holidays on those vehicles or new imports. But obviously, as a mafia government, nothing really, as you agree upon, does exist or happen with Museveni. The next thing I have is Nzeija Chiriowa Chiwanuka have been asked to draft some charges in the judiciary because Museveni wants to come back in the hearts of Ugandans. He wants them to draft some laws that look like the judiciary is favoring Ugandans so that they begin to like Museveni again. You're going to see a lot of that coming back because a lot of people have lost faith in the Museveni government and the judiciary especially. He wants the courts to seem legitimate again, and the courts are going to bring back super sugar coated new laws or proceedings or activities to look like they support people and not the government. But as you know, Chiriowa Chiwanuka, the Attorney General, works for Museveni. Nzeja, the Chief Justice, is Museveni's relative. He's also a Rwandese. He was sworn in on Museveni's compound, in his yard at home. So all of these attributes point to the fact that the judiciary, no matter what they change, are not in favor of Ugandans, and they've never been. There's nothing that Museveni does that is in favor of Ugandans as a people. Everything that he does is in favor of his Rwandese people and his existence. Nothing good for Ugandans. So my advice to you, when you see all these happening, just be careful, because it doesn't mean that it is happening for sure. It's not in favor of Ugandans at all. Okay? Oh, the big elephant in the room. Iran. The war in Iran has shaken Museveni more than anything else, if anything has ever shaken this man. Museveni knows that between him and Ayatollah, the former president of Iran, he was next in line. Ayatollah died, I believe, at about 86 years old. And Museveni claims he's 83 years old, although I believe he's older than that. But let's give him 83 or whatever he calls himself. When the attacks began on Iraq, Museveni was on the phone constantly trying to find out if for sure the supreme leader of Iran had been killed. He kept calling China and Putin to find out if it's true. And he thought that the war would last at least 6 months to a year so that it takes the media or attention away from him. Because as you know, Bobi Wine is in the EU, he's in the US, he's everywhere. He's on media, all kinds of media, international stage. It's all about His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and sanctions and this, that, and the other. So Museveni was hoping that this war would last at least 6 months to a year. But to his surprise, China and Russia both confirmed that the supreme leader of Iran, had been killed in the strikes. So he was also disappointed that Russia and China did not swoop in to help, because he thought that since they all have a pact or have a relationship or similar way of ruling, that his two friends would come in, Russia and China, to try to rescue Iran. But that did not happen. So Museveni and his family, they regret heavily having not changed government or changed presidents, even if he could have given his something of a son or a different person, maybe Mao or whatever the case may be. They deeply regret having not changed governance, because they believe if they had changed the president of Uganda and they were still working underneath, things wouldn't be as bad as they are now. But it's too late, and Museveni knows his time is up and it's time to go. He has also said that if ever, which he knows, he says that he's next after Ayatollah. He says that if the US turns their ammunitions towards him, they could clear him and his family in about a minute. So he has called all the leaders, all of the Rwandese movements all over the world, all of them, and informed them that he's terrified and that things are not looking good in Uganda, and they need to start looking for solutions and other avenues, because he cannot foresee them surviving this one after Ayatollah was taken out this way. He does not sleep at night. In fact, he has his jet pilots. His jet pilots sleep in the jets these days, in airplanes, because he knows anytime he's next. And as good as the U.S. was able to target the president of Iran, or the supreme leader of Iran, he's sure that he's constantly being surveilled by whoever is going to attack him next, which he actually believes he's next in line, which is true, you know, because among the dictators and everything that's happening all over the world, it looks like it's time for a big shakeup, for things to change. So he's worried about that. Despite his doctors telling him to relax and not be tense and worried, he's definitely worried, and his health is getting worse. He has also debated relaxing the policies that harden Ugandans' lives. For example, the policies that he has enacted with the Damuliras and the people of the ghetto, who are the ghetto groups that are being used by the Damuliras to cause insecurity in Kampala. He has asked them to stand down and do less, to try to not keep Ugandans on constantly hating them or hating him. So he wants them to reduce on the pressure on Ugandans, hoping that things don't escalate or make things worse for him. Museveni hopes that he can still get back in the hearts of Ugandans like they used to love him. But I think those days are gone, honestly. I believe those days are gone. Next thing, Museveni plans on giving himself a really big award because he's looking for legitimacy. He wants to look right. So what he's planning to do is he wants to stage an awards ceremony somewhere outside of Uganda, in another country, where he will invite different country leaders or presidents to go to that country and watch him receive this award that he's going to give himself. Okay? So it's funny. Museveni is going to get an award ceremony together, organized by him, for him, given to him by somebody in a foreign country, because he wants a photo op, an opportunity where he will be awarded he'll be awarded something to show his military strength or contribution or peace management in the region. Okay? You know how the US and other foreign countries used to celebrate Museveni so much for peacekeeping in Somalia, in the Central Africa, in Congo, and all these areas, not knowing that Museveni himself was the causer of all these atrocities. So now it's time for him to continue his fake legitimacy. This time he's going to send invitations to different presidents or different leaders of different countries to come to a certain country in in Africa. I'm not saying East, it could be anywhere. He's going to invite people to this function, presidents, so that they come and witness him giving himself. Somebody will give him the award, but it's to him giving himself an award for being a peacekeeper in the region. Crazy, but true. Only because he wants other presidents to recognize him as the president of Uganda, or the president-elect of Uganda. You must remember that many, many different dignitaries and presidents are distancing themselves from Museveni because of fear of being associated by what Museveni is being called now, which is the truth: a dictator, a human rights violator, and all those things. So he's afraid of that, and so he wants to award himself something like that and have the media shifted from His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to Museveni of Uganda. Okay? Crazy, but okay. He wants a photo with different presidents and dignitaries of other countries so that he looks right, like he is being supported. Okay? Muhoozi is, as you might know, his reputation in his family is not that great. Obviously, because of the tweets and how he's behaved recently. Not recently, always. So none of them is willing to recognize or try to attempt to get him to be president as they had planned originally. So they're trying to front Natasha. I don't know if anybody might have seen a post that came out yesterday where there's a picture of Natasha on a poster which says that a woman president for the first time in Uganda, something like that. It is because they're trying to front Natasha now instead, because Muhoozi has muddied the waters, especially internationally, with his tweets and his communications and his accepting or admitting to certain crimes, like saying statements like, we've only killed 22 of the opposition people. We would like to do more, and statements like that, and wanting to behead Bobby Wine, things like that become a admission of crime or guilt in the international community, especially when he's trying to fit into his father's shoes. So we won't be seeing Muhoozi for a while also, because I will come back later. I have something else to talk about that, but he's out of the public eye because of something personal that I will be talking about in a few minutes here. Continuing with the Iran war, or the recent happenings in Iran, Museveni has called presidents of Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, and Tanzania to talk with them about oil prices. So because Iran is at war, Iran has a lot of oil, or is connected with different countries with regards to oil. I won't speak into details about that because I can't really say the particular countries right now. But general knowledge is that the Middle East has tons of oil. And so usually when they have the instability, oil prices are affected somewhat in different locations where they do send that oil. So Museveni, because he's so broke, the government really has no money, because Museveni depended on foreign income or foreign aid a lot. Since the time President Trump cut aid to Uganda, the LGBT aid and US aid and all the other aids that were coming to Uganda, plus all the concocted reasons Museveni was getting aid or getting loans from places or banks like the IMF, International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank. But with a bad name now, he can't get those monies. So Museveni is broke. He doesn't know, he has no idea how he's going to run the government. Mind you, they're stashing away money for their future because they know that their future may not be in Uganda. So he has called the presidents of Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania. The reason why Sudan is called is because Museveni literally runs the government of Sudan. Okay? Salva Kiir is there not because he's a good president or can manage the affairs of Sudan. Museveni does control Sudan. I learned something today, that there is a tunnel that has been dug at Karuma Falls, goes through Karuma area all the way to Sudan. And that tunnel is to bring in Sudan oil imports and things that he doesn't want to bring on the road into Uganda. So this goes to show you why the president of Sudan is still there and stands there, and Ugandan military guard Sudan and the activities and affairs of Sudan. I understand the entourage of the president, or the bodyguards of President Salva Kiir, some of them are Ugandan and Rwandese, obviously because of the benefits like these. So that tunnel is from Karuma or Uganda all the way to Sudan, and that's how they get the oil from Sudan into Uganda. So we have lots of oil reserves. There's lots of oil in Uganda. Amoro has a lot of oil. Bunyoro has tons of oil. Apa has a lot of oil. So the efforts to try to cause oil prices to rise, which is the agreement that Museveni has made with the Sudanese, Rwandese, Kenyan, Tanzanian presidents, is that they all increase oil prices at once, with a claim that the war in Iran is causing that price hike. But it doesn't make sense because Uganda does not get oil from Iran. Okay? We have enough oil in the region that we don't need oil from Iran, that even if there are interruptions in Iran, it should not affect Uganda as a country or the East African region because there's enough oil in those regions. If anything, we have reserves.